Well, after the heat and the trauma of the cruise down from Cropredy to Henley-on-Thames, you join me on a grey, wet, slightly rainy and windy day on the Thames in Henley. For the last few nights I've been moored up just here, which has been great, which has been pretty much where I used to go fishing with my dad, which is just behind us actually when I was a kid. So today I'm not taking the boat very far, 20-30 minutes if that, just down the river to change mooring location. The reason being that if you moor here in the town, this is actually what they call the Mill Meadows temporary mooring. It's £15 a night, and you can only do a certain number of nights unless you get written permission from the council, and then you can't return for so many days, etc. So what I'm doing is I'm moving down to somewhere called Fawley Meadows, and I'm going to moor down there because it just breaks out the mooring, and I'm going to probably come back up here for the weekend. And what a difference a few days made. The weather's broken obviously, but also the big other change has been the amount of traffic on the river. At the weekend when I moored up on the Saturday, and when I was down on the boat on the Sunday, it was like Piccadilly Circus down here. There were there were boats all over the place, creating huge amounts of wash. Never seen waves like it. I was on board the boat and the boat was really sort of bouncing around. I looked out the side hatch and there were sort of 2-foot waves rolling by the side of the boat, wash created by other boats. So now, last few days, there's been absolutely nothing around. No boats at all. Very, very quiet. Such a contrast, such a difference. So anyway, I'm going to go down through Henley, through the bridge, and then on to Fawley Meadow and moor up. I'm not going to do a running commentary on this because I'm going to save that for a day when the weather's a little bit nicer. But anyway, off we go. Oh, and if you've been to the channel before, welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome. Right, let's see what this little short cruise brings up. Okay, as we come down the river, we're just coming up to our sort of first view of Henley and St Mary's Church, and shortly we should see the iconic bridge at Henley and the pub at the Angel on the bridge. Apart from last summer when I took a cruise up here on a steam boat as part of Henley Traditional Boat Festival, more on that later, I haven't cruised a boat along here on my own, under my own sort of power and steering as it were, for wow, 40, 50 years possibly, well at least 40, 45 years I would say. And here we come up to Henley Bridge, complete with two low-flying swans. One's landed. Funny cruising down the Thames now at what I consider canal speeds. I'm just on Canal Tick over here, thoroughly enjoying it. Also, I've only seen one other boat out, and that's when I left. Boat came up the river, not seen another boat. Oh, good to see they've finally done some repairs to the bridge. When I went through it last, when was that? July, it was in a terrible state. A lot of the stones had been knocked off. Now, all this stuff that you can see in front of us is for Henley Royal Regatta, which starts in 4 weeks. I've got a full video about the regatta available on the channel. If you want to see it, I'll put a link to it below. and this means that there's a lot of stuff in the river. They start putting this up end of April, and they'll have it all down sort of mid to late August. But they put booms all the way down the river, and what you can see here just on the right, these structures here are the finishing line. It will be the judges box and the finishing box and the press box. And where I'm aiming to moor is just down here on the left. Wow, just look at that view, one of my favourite views of the Thames. This is the longest, almost natural, straightest stretch of the River Thames in the UK. That's why the regatta is here. Absolutely stunning. You're looking about a mile down the river there nearly. Actually, it's over a mile thinking about it from here, as you can see. Well, that's kind of interesting. I was hoping to moor just in here on the left. There's been mooring there for as long as I can remember, and it now says no mooring. Now, I know that they've done a lot of work here on the bank. You can see where they've done the work on the bank, and this has caused problems with the planning of the traditional boat show, to the point that they've had to cancel it, because there used to be boats moored all the way along here during the traditional boat show. This is problematic that they've taken out all this mooring here. That's a lot of mooring that we've lost. So I don't know if I can moor further down. You could moor further down, but maybe they've done the same there. Yes, it looks like they have. They've got that sort of same feature on the bank. Wow, that's a problem. That was unexpected. Okay, with the loss of all this mooring along here, I'm going to try and turn around and head back up towards Henley. There's a gap in the booms here, but it's going to be rather interesting trying to turn a narrowboat through this gap. Should be doable, but there's a bit of a breeze today, so hopefully I can get around and it doesn't cause me a problem. Last thing I want to do is take out one of their booms that they've just put in. Oh, getting a bit close to that one over there. That's the wind got me. Back down. The idea here is I'm going to try and reverse a little way down the course, because I just saw a boat, which is a hire boat, come out of a space up near where I originally wanted to moor, where there appears to be the only mooring now. That wind's got me again. The wind's coming down the course here, and it's got quite a long draw on it. Okay. Yeah, that wind's got me. Right, I've ended up exactly where I didn't want to be. If it wasn't for all these booms, I could just Just do a full 360 here in the Thames, no problem at all. Not only am I contending with the wind coming down the course here, and it gets quite a blow up coming down the course, it's got a good long clear run, but I'm also contending with the current which is flowing that way as well. So that makes the manoeuvre a little bit more tricky because I'm being pushed in that direction down the river towards the island. So if I can reverse back up past this gap, then hopefully what I can do is have another go at swinging around, making sure that I'm a bit closer upstream coast here. I can really feel that wind on my back here. Wind's getting quite gusty now. Now of course I'm turning sort of broadside into the wind, so it's really going to catch me in a second. Hopefully I've got enough momentum here to swing the whole boat around before it blows me down to that lower post. Here we go. It's already getting me, I can feel it. Nothing's coming. Should make it this time. Come on around. Come on around. Yep, there we go, and this time we made it. That's a relief. Now this is my first time going upstream on the river. I'm going upstream and into the wind. Just had a look at that spot where the hire boat came out, and there's not enough room there for me. The wide beam is taking up a large section of the middle. There's some space in front of it, but I think it's going to be quite tight to get in there because the pontoon's sticking out from the river. Now on the way down I did see a boat moored up just down here in what I call the umpire's launch bay, so I might go and have a look at that. Theoretically I could moor here, so that's another option. I could do that actually. This is what they would call the skiff bay at the regatta along here, and this is the steward's enclosure, so I could moor there. Didn't think it'd be I didn't think it'd be this difficult to get moored down here, because I thought there'd be all that mooring open over there, but as I say, since they've done the bank improvements, they've closed it off, which is a real shame. Yeah, I could get in front of that one, but yeah, it'd be a bit tight with those pontoons. Oh well, let's go and have a look up here and see if there's room at the inn there. Failing that, I'm going to have to go down and do another sort of pirouette somewhere on the river and try and moor up alongside here. I think that's the only other option that I've got. It doesn't say that you can't moor there, and normally you can. Okay, looking at where that other boat is moored up in there, that's too tight to get into in these conditions. That wind is really blowing me about quite a bit, so I'm going to have to do a U-ey and go back down, and think I'll moor up where I pointed out, just sort of back down the river there. Failing that, I'll go down to Remenham Farm and try mooring up down there. Okay, so here goes. I'm going to go and try and moor up on that side. I've got a gap through the booms here. Oh, the boat's around. It's still blowing a good one out here, so making boat steering a little bit tricky. And now it's pouring with rain, just to add to the fun of this. It's going to be quite a tight turn. I don't know if I'm going to manage this. I think we're going to have a encounter of the bank kind. Let's see. Test my ability to steer the boat, because I've got to do a really sharp turn on the other side. That wind's got me. Gonna make contact with the bank. There we go. May as well use that to help me now spin around. Advantage of having a nice chunky steel boat. Yeah, I was a little overconfident, over-optimistic in my abilities there to get that around. Now, I've been moored up here for 2 or 3 days, and the weather forecast for today and a bit of tomorrow doesn't look too good. Really heavy rain and really strong winds, and here isn't the best place for mooring because we've got the open reach here and the wind can really come down here. I experienced it earlier in the week when I was here, and it wasn't pleasant. You could feel the boat being bounced around. I had to sort of double pin it and also tie up to some rings on the bank that I found, and there was still sort of movement. The wind was so strong it actually damaged the cratch cover, so less than ideal conditions this morning. Rain forecast with wind speed increasing, but I'm going to move back up closer into the centre of town, where hopefully I'll get a little bit more shelter from the wind that we'll be picking up later today. What's making it particularly challenging this morning is there is an awful lot of rowers out, and they don't always seem to look where they're going. Well, they are going backwards, aren't they, very fast, and you have to really keep an eye open for them. 8s are not too bad, like the one I've got coming up behind me, because at least they've got a cox who's looking forward, but it's the 4s and the doubles that are a problem, particularly the coxless 4s. They can be a real nightmare. So anyway, let's dive over to my side of the river and move up into town, see if I can find somewhere to moor that's away from the weather. quiet mooring spot overall, quite quiet, not a lot going on. The biggest problems being joggers going by at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and then from about 6 o'clock you get all the coaches of the crews going by yelling at their crews through loud hailers, and they seem to particularly enjoy doing that when they are level with a boat. So you get some very odd things shouted at you first thing in the morning there. But anyway, let's pop back up to Henley and go and see if we can find some of the moor up there. Okay, now back up in the town centre and just passing one of the party boats that went by last night. The one down there, not the waterman. The bigger one down there, not the waterman, you can see. And it's up here that I'm looking for some mooring. That's interesting. So this time I'm going to the right hand side of the island going upstream. I can see that there's a Salter's boat moored up here. It appears to be slightly untethered because it's a funny angle across the river here, not entirely sure what's going on. There's a mooring spot I can just see before the Salter's boat, but not a good place for access for the car. I want somewhere where I can get some access with the car because I've got things I want to take off the boat that I don't need, I've got things I want to bring on the boat that I do need, and whilst there's parking just up the top here of this park, this is called the Prom by the way, while there's parking up the top here, the big problem with that parking is during the day it's always full because people are coming down here to enjoy the Prom. But conceivably I could just get in here behind, well, on the bank where Hampton Court is. Oh, a funny angle there, but anyway, let's go up a little bit further. Oh, there's plenty of space further up. So I might try to go back to where I was moored when I first arrived at Henley last Saturday. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here, turn around at the end of the island and come back down and moor just on the right here. Not an ideal mooring spot in terms of access with a car to get things on and off the boat. Further up's better, but bit more sheltered here. We've got the island over to my left and we've got hedgerows and stuff over to my right, so that could be quite a good spot to shelter in if it's going to get as wet and windy as they claim it's going to get today. Yep, plenty of space along here if I wanted it. Right, let's see if I can execute this big wide turn. Oh, that's so nice just being able to turn like that in a river. Oh, and I think I can see the first of the rain coming in down the river there. It's looking pretty murky over the tops of those hills. Oh, look at that, lovely. Lovely, right, let's go and find somewhere to moor up now. Very good, I enjoyed that. Yeah, a lot of fun. And yes, I know I should have done some blasts on the horn. I think it's 5, I can't remember offhand. Always forget these things. I know 1's right, 2's left, 3 I think's reverse. Somebody pointed this out to me in the comments, but I did know it and I always forget it. I can't remember what's going about. Is it 4 or 5? Anyway, I'm turning around. There was no boats around, so there was no hazard to anyone, so I didn't really need to let rip with the horn. Let's get in here and see if I can get moored up. Yep, rain setting in now. Not bad, moored up. That'll do. Time to go in for a cup of tea. You can see me through all the wet weather.
One of the things I'm enjoying about being on the Thames is the diversity of boats, wildlife and other things that you see. I got treated to a flyby by a Hurricane or Spitfire one evening. If you know which it is, please let me know in the comments. Get to see big noisy party boats. And the big noisy party boat from Hobbs Boatyard, the New Orleans, actually is a complete fake. It has fake funnels which they lower to go under cables and the bridge in the town. Here you can see the funnels being raised, and the paddle wheel at the back is being dragged through the water and doesn't provide any power. And here we have some local bats out hunting over the river. I've been told that that high-pitched, fast buzz that you can hear is the bat homing in on a specific insect and grabbing it in the air. It's its sonar that you can hear. Now, I recorded these sounds by plugging in a bat detector to my camera. You wouldn't normally be able to hear these sounds. And if you look carefully at the footage, you can occasionally see a bat fly by. Anyway, that's just one of the ways I like to spend my evenings on the Narrowboat. And you get to see some novice rowing crews out having their first lessons. Now, this was a bit of an odd one. I was sitting on my boat one evening when I could hear a high-pitched whistle. And obviously it wasn't the bats because you can't hear bats. So I went out to investigate. At first I thought the sound was coming from this narrowboat, which was moored just downstream from me, but as I walked along it, the sound got louder, so clearly it wasn't coming from the narrowboat. The further I ventured down the towpath, the louder the sound got. I finally found the culprit.
Okay, so that's been moored up in Henley, sort of centre-ish town for about a week. I'm now going to move down the river towards Remenham farm area, see if I can find some mooring down there. Just passed the boat back there that was making all the noise last night. Spoke to them this morning. They said it was low voltage feedback through the stereo system. Well, that was making a lot of noise for low voltage. Absolutely incredibly loud. Anyway, let's see what we can find down the river. Find somewhere to moor up, hopefully. For me, coming down here and this view, I don't think it'll ever get old. Stunning view of St Mary's Church, Angel on the Bridge, and then the bridge coming up. Absolutely amazing view. Love it. Now, of course, coming down here, if there is mooring available on the left-hand side at Fawley Meadow, I may take it. Last week there was a wide beam there pretty much all week, so yeah, I don't know if I'll be lucky today and find a mooring spot. If I do, I'll definitely take that. It'll be a good little location for a few days, and then I might move down to Remenham Farm, see how it goes. And through the bridge we go. And on to the regatta course. I was toying with the idea of mooring up in here, which is the sort of umpire's launch dock area just on the right here, but yeah, somebody's beaten me to it, so that's not an option. And looking down the river towards Fawley Meadow, and you've got to admit this is a cracking view down the river here, looking straight down the mile and how many ever yards it is course, looking straight down the river here. We've got, well, stunning view, Temple Island in the distance, and I can see a bunch of boats moored up where I was thinking of mooring at Fawley Meadow, so that's out of the option. And where I moored up the other week, that doesn't look doable. It looks like they've put booms across there now to prevent me from getting in there. That's a bit of a shame, but hey ho. I think it's 3 weeks from now, this place will be buzzing. It will be the Sunday of Henley Royal Regatta, finals day. Okay, so we've got about 3/4 of a mile to go to the start of the course, and I was hoping to moor up along here just on the right. If you look carefully, you can see some boats moored in there. Doesn't look like there's a great deal of mooring there. That's Remenham Farm, and that's where I was planning on mooring up, but no, it doesn't look too good, so I'm going to have to push on down a bit further, down towards Hambledon and Hambledon Lock, and see if there's some mooring down there. Now that's where I'm supposed to be mooring up during the regatta. I've got a paid for mooring down there, reserved. Not exactly a cheap mooring, but I've got a paid one, and it's reserved for me and the Grey Wagtail, so that's good. As I say, I was hoping to moor up along here at Remenham Farm, but it's yeah, looking a bit busy. Might be able to sneak in there between a couple of the cruisers, but doesn't look too good. I might be able to sneak in at this end near the willow tree. Anyway, fantastic morning to be out cruising down the River Thames. Glorious. Nice to have that sun out again. A bit windy, but at least it's not raining. Yeah, I could definitely sneak in there between that willow tree and that cruiser, so that could be an option. We'll see. Let's have a go down a bit further and have a look at things to see what's happening. Interesting, where I was thinking of mooring up, because I thought it would be empty, was along here, but there seems to be more boats here than I was sort of anticipating. Bit of surprise. So just coming up around this corner is Hambledon Lock. What I'm going to do is do a U-E and then go back up. I might moor in here, I don't know yet. Might go more up by Temple Island just for the fun of it, just so I can say I'm moored there. Now for Regatta Week, I'm supposed to be moored somewhere on my right here. I personally can't see how it's going to happen. How are you going to get the boat into bank close enough so you can get off? I mean, there's a lot of reeds there. I don't know. I think they build pontoons out. I'm sure that I've seen them build sort of jetties out from the side here, pontoons out from the side here for people to get on and off their boats, but I just don't know. My guess is I'm going to be moored down the end here, closest to Hambledon Lock, because that seems to be where they were suggesting that my mooring would be. Bit of a walk up to the regatta, but yeah, should be fun. Anyway, I better try and execute a turn here because we've just got the lock coming up around the corner here. In fact, I can see it. So, turn time. Let's go for it. It's kind of interesting how easily and quickly this can turn around. Look at that, not bad at all. Right, let's go and find somewhere to moor up now. Not bad. That's a nice tight circle, that. Not bad at all. Wow, just look at that view. Stunning. Just been told by a rower that I can't come up this side of the island. I can't see anything on the river that says that I can't. So I've come up this side of the island, and it's mainly because I want to just moor up here next to Temple Island, because I think it'd be a bit of a giggle. Let's see if I can get moored in here.
One thing I like about the bat detector is that it can help me find bats when I can't see them. I never saw any bats flying around at Temple Island, but the bat detector told me they were there.
Well, that was massively inconvenient. Where I was nicely moored up for a couple of days, Went out today, got a phone call from the mooring people saying you're not supposed to be moored there, even though the signs clearly state that you can moor there, and there's one still visible over there. Interestingly, they've black bagged the one that I was actually moored to, so this means I've got to go and find another mooring, which is a real pain. It's quite windy out here today. I don't know if you can hear me above the wind. Not ideal. And as I say, I was planning on cruising tomorrow and going down to Marlow, so another night there would have been dead handy. Hopefully I'll be able to pick up some mooring just down past the island here, but it would have been good if Copus, the company that owns this, had actually put up a sign saying you can't moor here from Monday morning, in which case I would not have moored there last night. I would have found somewhere else to moor, but hey ho, there you go. You live and you learn. I do like turning a boat on the river. It's so easy. Yeah, it's very annoying. I've got to find a new mooring. I quite liked it there. It's convenient, good view, and yeah, why they couldn't have covered the sign up or put a message on the sign sort of saying no mooring allowed here from such and such time on such and such a day, I don't know, but there you go. The guy who phoned me up from Hobbs, which is the local boat company, he was very good about it, and he said he couldn't understand why Copus were making such a fuss, but they were, so I've got to move. Well, this is one way to moor up. Talk about doing a U-E into a mooring spot. Let it spin round, then whack it in reverse, and that should put it in, hopefully. Not quite what I had planned, as the wind's caught me slightly, but getting there. Bloody canoeists. wind's got up again. That's making it really difficult. I can't get the boat in this wind. Well, that's me eventually moored up. Just need to tighten up the lines and adjust the lines. Problem is, wind coming over this way, really blowing the boat around. Every time I put it in, it pushes it away from the bank. What a pain. Been so much better to stay at the other mooring, but hey, there you go. Right, let's finish mooring up and go and get on with the rest of my day as planned. Well, that video turned out to be a lot longer than I was expecting, coming in at around about an hour. But that was 2 to 3 weeks of me exploring the Henley area, going to some of my old haunts and finding some new things about the area, and basically getting to grips with life on the River Thames. I've really enjoyed the experience. It's been a lot of fun. Now, in the next video, I'll be cruising down to Marlow. That's about a 3-hour cruise downstream from here. I will then be exploring the Marlow area and seeing what I can learn about that patch of the River Thames. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a big like, a big thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. And if you see one of those funky hype buttons lurking around, please give the video a hype because it really does help the channel. On the screen now, you'll see a QR code. If you scan that QR code, it'll take you through to a free newsletter about the Grey Wagtail. I don't send out a lot of stuff, just once a week, sort of saying there's a new video out. Anyway, thanks again for watching for this long, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.